What is going on, everyone? We are back with another music reaction. I'm Depraved.
I'm Hellcat.
And together we are...
HellaDepraved. Super excited.
We didn't even have to wait near as long for the next Villain's Lair.
Right. He couldn't find what he was looking for tonight and just said fuck it, and this was his choice.
Exactly.
This was his choice, y'all.
Exactly.
I'm so proud of him.
It is only because VoicePlay hasn't dropped anything new.
Well, okay, like, VoicePlay will take priority. I will agree with that, but only because it's new.
VoicePlay typically...
takes priority over most things.
Over most things.
Yeah.
Most things. Unless it's a song that I have no clue what it is, then I'm usually more hesitant to be
But then we're also kind of bummed because we're like, damn it, they dropped, which means they won't for a while, and... What is this?
I am super excited for this, though. This is called Tough Love.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with some tough love. Now, I'm going to guess this is going to reference how most of these villains have treated these princesses that are family, and they consider it tough love.
Don't think they were villains, yeah.
And they don't think they were very villainous for it. But I'm telling you now that...
some of them were out of line.
When you turn one into a house slave... Mm-hmm. And force her to clean and cook up after you and your nasty ass kids.
In her own house.
In her own house. It wasn't even your house to begin with.
Right.
It was her and her dad's.
Yeah.
Or, you like make them fall asleep or lock them in towers. I mean, you guys are some pretty shitty people.
Right.
That is not tough love.
I'll agree with you.
And you've deserved every loss that came your way.
Here's a theory. Okay, so if you've ever read Peter Pan is not a nice dude. Right?
No, he's kind of a twat, too.
Yeah, and the Lost Boys, like, he doesn't ever want them to grow up. So, theory being, if they start growing up, he kills them. So, bear with me. I want to say Hook and the Pirates are Lost Boys who escaped before he could kill them off. So, that turns the whole story on its head, and Hook is not actually the villain. Pan is.
Okay.
This is why keeping an open mind and seeing multiple perspectives helps you in life. Not everybody's a villain. These guys, though. No excuses.
Right.
I'm sorry. You're right.
So, super excited to check this out, though. We are going to react to this. If you guys have already seen it, if not, click the link in the description below. Hopping over to all things coming back with that, because our commentary, reaction, breakdown, comedy channel. And what that means is we will pause for any and or all of the above.
Plus, these are fabulous. Go support them.
Yeah. It is time to slash it up and break it down. This is...
Pattycake Productions.
Thank you, because I was thinking peppermint for some reason. I was like, that's
Peppermint
not right.
Patty Productions.
Right.
Yeah, Pattycake.
Pattycake Productions with The Villain's Lair, Episode 2 with
Tough
Love. Let's get it. The Villains.
Yep.
Ever since I was a girl, my own mother vowed I must find a way to power through a noble brow. I married once for love, then my senses came. I must marry for the stature of my husband's name. On to marriage number 2, I knew what I had to do. My poor husband fell ill in a year or 2. Solved problem number 1, now to problem number 2. His doe-eyed little girl with a gentle point of view. Would I ship her off to school? No, I told her if she stayed, then she'd have to earn her keep. And so she became the maid.
She was lazy. She was crazy. She was talking to the mice.
She was hopelessly naive, so she had to pay the price. I moved her to the attic, out of sight and out of mind. I could have thrown her out, but I'm benevolent and kind.
Mother, your heart's too big for you.
I knew what I had to do. After all, difficult...
So you called it.
All right, look. Literally, everything you just said makes you a bad person.
Right.
Every single thing.
Right. Now, the only give that she gets is that her mom was also a bad person and raised her up to be this way. That's it. That's the only allowance she gets whatsoever. One would have hoped that her marriage for love would have lasted, and therefore taught her that her mom was wrong. Although in the story, he did die. So I like that they made the ugly stepsisters sing just as horribly as they sing in the animated. I do like that. I don't like hearing it.
I just realized that Pattycake Productions is written like Roger Rabbit.
It is the same logo
same
type,
font.
yeah. So we're getting the Evil Queen, Mother Gothel, and yeah. So you did call it correctly, yeah. I like that they animated part of it too.
Right.
Do what I had to do. After all, difficult children will take advantage of your good nature. So you lock them up, throw away the key. There's one on every family tree.
Ungrateful, hateful, vile too. The things she put you through.
Break their spirit so they obey. Now they'll do anything you say. Maybe you'd call it cruel, but others would call it love. Tough love. I ask you, is it a crime to strive for perfection in all things?
Oh no, they're so cute when they're little, but then they grow up and just ruin everything. I never wanted children. Life was better on my own. All the screaming, nagging chilled me to the bone. But then one day I came across a flower growing free. Its magic kept me young, so I kept it all for me. But someone dug it up. Now a baby held the power, so I borrowed her and locked her up and hid her in a tower. Years went by, all the sacrifice, and against my better judgment, I fed her once or twice. Teenagers now, I know I wild eat their young, but that's messy. Manipulation's easily more fun. A little guilt, a lot of force, of course you have to lie. Remind them that without you, they shrivel up and die.
They only had themselves to blame. If you'd been there, you'd do the same. So work them hard till they fall in line. There's one way and it's only mine.
Children are lazy, spoiled too, but we know what to do. Govern them with a heart of stone. Lock them up so they're all alone.
Maybe you'd call it cruel, but
Others would call it love, tough love.
Oh, her own tower.
You're like, they're terrible people.
They really are.
I know, but the fact that you feel that way means that Pattycake Productions did an excellent job.
No.
They're terrible people in the story,
I like to root for the villains.
but they're actually terrible people.
They're making
in the
it hard to root for them.
Yeah, they're terrible people in
Yes.
the stories.
I mean, they did a great job writing this, but still.
Now that they only have themselves to blame line is
I'm
great.
like, man, I'm hoping one of these songs is gonna make it to the hot. Nope, not this one.
Yeah, they will. But that line about they only have themselves to blame is wonderful because it's a line from Chicago, the musical. So I don't know, but their voices are fantastic. They really picked some great people to do this, and obviously the fact that you're hating on them means they did a really good job with the writing. The other thing that these three villainesses in particular have in common, they all locked him up.
They all gaslit their own fucking family.
Well, not just gaslit, but they all locked him up. You know, Cinderella wasn't allowed anywhere, locked in the attic. Obviously, Rapunzel was locked in the tower. And then Snow White was actually locked up.
All they're missing is Harry's aunt and uncle.
I know. We could have gotten the Dursleys in on this. Except for Villain's Lair, I believe, is specifically animated Disney villains. Yeah.
Others would call it love, tough love.
Oh, her own tower with a water view, and she runs away the first chance she gets.
These wretched brats think the world owes them something, but it doesn't. For
and wide, I rule the kingdom with a heavy hand. But there was more, I had in mind a greater plan. I never cared to share, so the king would have to fall. But his child blocked the way to me, and fairest of them all. She was chubby, she was dumb, and grotesquely optimistic. She needed structure in her life, she wasn't realistic. I gave her chores and took away the things that she'd enjoy. But then I caught her singing songs with birds and then a boy. Love? Was I to just sit by and wait for her to take my crown? No, she had sealed her fate. She had to go, and so she did, and you know what they say. An apple once a day keeps your enemies away. Don't be fooled by their tender smile.
No, see, what you did was all you did was push her into the arms of 7 other men.
Right, for a total of 8. Right. That is structure. I mean, it is a structure. It's just, not the thing that you were thinking of.
That's the start of an adult movie. That's
right.
what that is.
Right.
Be fooled by their tender smile. Give an inch and they'll run a mile. Our idea of a happy home is one where we live all alone. Dark, depressing, desolate. Now let's all drink to that. Call us wicked, call us mean, cruel and everything in between. You could say it's unjust, turning their dreams to dust. This is what we call love, tough love.
So, it's over. So is this like telling a story? Because like they had did a potion that was supposed to like rewind
Yeah.
time, and now they're just sitting around singing.
They're waiting.
Oh.
But yeah. So we could venture to the Princess Academy.
Kicked all the guys out.
Yeah, this was girls' night.
Does Princess Academy actually run parallel with this?
Yes.
Then we probably should.
Yeah. So there is a little bit of overlap, and there's some not. So at this point, we're not like past the story to an extent that you can't understand it, obviously. So they did start with Princess Academy, and I forget how many episodes in. I'll research it so that we can do it. The first What Goes Around Comes Around came in, but it is obviously they were making a potion to wind back time to make all of the events that led them to lose not happen. But it's because they're trying to take down the princesses still. So we can do the Princess Academy. It's just obviously it's the princesses. They do a fantastic job again. Fantastic. I just like villains more than I like princesses.
Well, I do too.
Yeah. Those What Goes Around Comes Around was fabulous.
But all of these are
they're
bratty
a bunch
as
of
fuck.
horrible people, right? Right. Well, this particular one, sure. Yeah, I'll pull that up for the next one that we do. They're fun. They're just a lot more perky. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I did enjoy it.
He enjoyed it. It just like rained on his parade in terms of rooting for the villains.
So
It's like I now remember why you were such terrible people in the first place.
well, let's be real. Only one of the 3 villains here came from a movie I can even stand.
Right.
I'm more interested in maybe what Jafar or Hook has down the line,
Right.
among others. Is
I mean,
is
honestly,
Scar involved?
I think Scar gets involved.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Doctor, what's his name? From Princess and the Frog.
That
I
guy.
can never remember. Yeah. I mean, there are plenty more, and they do rejoin. It doesn't become just
They should have hired Tony Todd for him.
Oh God, that would.
Because I know Tony can sing. I've heard him do it.
Yeah, but obviously these aren't movie star people.
No, but I just want Tony Todd to work everywhere.
That too.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I agree. Okay.
Um,
Now that we've covered that.
right. No, so it does beg to question One of them did already kind of touch on it in her verse. But you've got to wonder what happened in their life to turn them all this way.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I'd like to think that I'm an asshole.
Right.
But I'm still not this level of asshole.
Right. So, I mean, depending on what you're looking at, most of them had heartbreaking things happen, but chose to then place that pain on somebody else. Mostly stepkids, if you've noticed. Not their own kids. Or they chose not to have kids, but then got saddled with them. But yeah, so Cinderella's stepmom did actually, in the storyline, break away from her mother, and it caused like a whole rift between them when she married for love, and then the dude died. And then she was left like with nothing, with 2 kids and in poverty, and realized that her mom was right and she never wanted to do that again, so she married for finances. The evil queen, I forget her name right now. It starts with a... It's a very, very German name. I forget it. But...
Rumpelstiltskin?
No. She,
That's all I had for you.
Also, I believe had a... Like, she was forced into marriage because she was previously married as well. And because it was back in the days when, you know, marriage was for power grabs and stuff like that, she was torn away from someone she loved, forced into marriage, sold off into, you know, and then when this marriage came around, she was way younger than the king and so on and so forth. And again, kind of forced into it, and then blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't know Mother Gothel's origin. I think she was a legit witch and wanted immortality. Now, if somebody knows different, fine, but she clearly stated, I never wanted kids. She didn't even uproot the flower. Like, she didn't even kill nature. She just wasn't sharing, you know, until somebody fed it to the baby, which obviously was to keep the queen alive and all that. But, you know. So
people just run around feeding flowers to their kids?
Magic flowers, apparently. And again, I think
Where's
it
mine?
was fed to the queen to keep her alive. Because something happened during the pregnancy or during the birth that she was dying. And it was the magic flower that saved her. But then when Rapunzel was born, it had, like, become part of her. And so then, to stay
a very
young.
Weird reason to lock her in a tower.
Well, she needed the flower's power to stay young.
So cut her open.
I think she figured that the longer the plant stayed alive, the longer the power would stay alive. Are you suggesting she cannibalized Rapunzel? So that maybe ingesting it will then imbue her with the power for life?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That might work. Right.
This could have been a much more dark story.
I'm pretty sure it probably was. I mean, other than the, you know, pushing the prince into briars and blinding him and then cutting her hair off and forcing her to live on a snake-infested swamp island in the middle of nowhere for the rest of her life, and just happenstance that the prince stumbles by. Oh, and that's ripping her away from her parents in the first place, who were not a king and queen, but just her next-door neighbors that had pregnancy issues and cravings and snuck into her yard for some Rapunzel plant, which is kind of like a radish in the first place, and getting pissed off about that. And, you know, I mean, like, it's a pretty dark story.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
But all right.
The story of Rapunzel.
So,
That is the story of Rapunzel. If you didn't know, now you know. There's no magic flower. Hate to break it to you.
if you guys liked the video, slash that like button, subscribe, but ring the bell for notifications. Comment down below, what did you think of Pattycake Productions with The Villain's Lair Episode 2, Tough Love. Also, comment down below if there's anything else you guys want to see reacted to. Check the description below for other things.
Push our buttons. Come join us on our other social media platforms, mostly Twitter if you want a quicker response or more fairy tale history.
We love you guys. Thank you all for watching. Cannot wait to see you depraved people later. Bye.